You will introduce. ब्लूटूथ पेयर्ड है, कुछ चला के दिखाएगा मुझे एक बार।
आपको लिंक भेज
व्हाट्सएप स्काइप मेरे को भी देते हैं। जैकेट जैकेट
मेरे ऑलरेडी
मैं बताऊँ आयोजन नहीं
सॉरी कोड है क्या है यूट्यूब क्या है ये कहाँ से देखूँ यहाँ से नहीं
डॉक्यूमेंटेशन
ये लाइव है
लाइव तो चल रहा है
पॉज तो नहीं कर सकते
1 मिनट ही
ये बता देता हूँ
ये वाला
गाइस एक लिंक भेजा है व्हाट्सएप है प्लीज चेक करना ग्रुप पे लिंक भेजा है लाइव चल रहा है आई नहीं सर चेक करो चल रहा है ओके सो
सर इसको करना एक्टिव करना इसको करना
All right, to connect, open Bluetooth settings and look for the device called Family Room Home. Something went wrong and I can't turn on pairing. Try again in a bit.
इधर आ जा
All right, to connect, open Bluetooth settings and look for the device called Family Room Home.
यहाँ से तो
Something
कनेक्टेड
went
है
wrong and I can't turn on pairing.
यहाँ से
Try again in a bit.
डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया? अब दोबारा किया तो डिस्कनेक्ट किया तो डिस्कनेक्ट किया है, अब हो जाएगा। हो गया।
लास्ट प्ले करके देखो,
वैसे ही देख लो यूट्यूब पे जो
बेस लाइन लाइव स्ट्रीमिंग चलाते हैं। बस ठीक है, कर दे शुरू स्टार्ट।
Alright.
कोई ना रहे चल रहा है।
तो देखने स्लो मोशन में आ रहा है।
चला भी क्या यहाँ
Good evening all. Today I take this opportunity to introduce our guest of honor, our speaker, Mr. Joseph Jude, who is holding a position of CTO in Net Solutions. I feel very elated to introduce him with everyone. Joseph Jude has a keen interest in business technology and the technology of business. He works with the C-level executive to solve their business problems with technology. He is currently engaged with an IT service company to set up an innovation lab to accelerate their digital offerings. Previously, he worked with the government of India in rolling out e-governance system for monitoring of corporate affairs. He co-authored a book which was published by Press. He also self-published a book. He is currently interested in storytelling as a business practice. Today, he'll be sharing his views and experience on the topic of innovative team thrives. As we all are working in a corporate world, so I think this is a very important topic for all of us. So without any delay, I would like to call Mr. Joseph Jude on stage to start the session. Please welcome.
I did not expect this kind of a setup. I thought it would be a lot more informal and a closed event. I hope I'm able to, you're all able to hear it? Good. So the phone that you have in your hand that has more power and more storage than the computer that sent man to the moon. I will let that sink into you for a minute. The mobile that you have in your hand that has more power and storage than the computer that sent man to the moon and brought him back. Right? The question is, what are you doing with it? Margaret Hamilton, she was the programmer for that particular project. She programmed that computer to send man to the moon. What are we using it for? Take selfies, post it on Instagram, right? Post it on Facebook. Hey Joseph, I'm having a talk at Signicent. Whereas Margaret Hamilton used it to send man to the moon. That's the difference. That's the difference in attitude. That's the difference in pursuing something larger than what you are. Now today, after so many decades, I'm still talking about Margaret Hamilton. How many of you will have work that will surpass your stay either in Significant, or maybe you are going to have pursue higher studies, maybe you are going on. How many of us will do work that will surpass whatever that you are doing today? You need to ask yourself. And how did that happen? So let me throw this particular question. What's the difference between invention and innovation? These buzzwords are like, thrown out everywhere, but let's try to define it. Not from you, gents. I have very curious students. Anybody? What's the difference between invention and innovation? Please. This is not college. I'm not a professor. Even though I might look like one, I am not. Feel free to say there is no stupid answer. There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. So, what's the difference between innovation and invention? Anyone?
Invention is a new thing, innovation is a derivation of already known invention.
Wonderful. I should have expected it from a patent. The first shot, it's right. I think Harit has built a wonderful team. Your good name, ma'am?
Gurpreet.
Sorry?
Gurpreet.
Gurpreet. Can you all give a round of applause? That's fantastic. So, Xerox company, they invent the mouse, what we call as mouse. It was Steve Jobs, he took that and made it, commercialized it. He brought it to the masses, brought it to everybody. That's innovation. I can bring in something, normally what would happen is I bring in few items together in diverse fields, and then I will have a new business model, and then that becomes an innovation. Okay? If you see, Indian IT industry, it grew out of innovation. I don't know how many of you are aware. I don't think even Harit would know. He's still very young. Probably I'm the eldest in this particular group. How many of you are aware about there's somebody shouting, yes, you are the eldest? Thank you.
Yes, I am aware.
How many of you are aware about Y2K problem? Y2K, see, nobody knew. All of you kids. There was something called year 2000 problem. So at that time, I don't think you kids would know about COBOL programming. It used to be programmed in COBOL, and anyway, long story short, ton of companies, when I say ton, thousands and thousands of companies had mainframe code which had year bits in 2 bits. So it'll be like 99, so now it is 2019. The problem was so obviously as you can understand, 98 will become 99, but when the 99 becomes 2000, the system cannot identify whether it is 1900 or 2000. So that was the problem. Which means what happened, you can imagine, I am assuming a lot of you guys are still programmers. You could imagine the system cannot differentiate whether it is 1 plus year or it is 99 years older. So think about the interest rates that are going to happen, that has to be calculated, and so on and so forth. Huge problems. And they all need to be fixed in a very fast-paced manner, within about a year's time, need to be tested, rolled out, and all of that. Indian companies took that. We had cheap labor, internet was coming up then, and we innovated how quickly we can do that, and we scaled it to a large extent, and then that's how IT industry grew. And after that, we did quite a lot of other stuff, but then that's where IT industry grew. So we took up a problem, there was a problem. We said, how can this be solved at scale, not just 1 or 2, at scale, how can this be solved? When we combined these two, the labor market had a ton of people, then here is a problem, and the internet was coming in, the fiber links and everything were coming in. How can I combine all of these 3 things together, have a new business model? And Indian IT industry grew, and rest is history, rest is everybody else knows what happened. We are in SAS Nagar having an IT company, primarily an IT company. That's because of that particular innovation. Okay? Now, innovation is not going to be easy. And in our day-to-day life, we don't look at how we change. Now, I might look like January 1 to now, I might look like I'm the same. This vacation, in 2 days, I'm going to go home. My mom is going to see me after 1 year. You know what she's going to say? I'm sure like all of you will know. I don't know how many of you are living with your parents now. She will say, you lost weight. Which is not true, but that is what she will say. But the one that who is seeing me, my wife keeps saying I put on weight. My mom sees me after a year, she says, you lost weight. There is the difference. Somebody is seeing me on a day-to-day basis, they do not perceive the change. Somebody sees me after a long time, they perceive the change. So when you are coming in daily and you are working on whatever that has been allocated to you, you do not perceive the change that's happening. You step back and then you are saying, oh my God, so much has changed. We were just now talking. I went for a 25-year college reunion and we were meeting, some of us, we were meeting after 25 years. Oh my God, so much of change. I apparently supposed to have a lot of hair and you could understand.
I have seen French head also.
Joseph, is that you? What happened to you? But a lot of people do not see that change, right? So that's where innovation becomes absolutely essential, because you are sitting and doing something, not perceiving the business that is changing, the market that is changing, the industry that is changing, the competitor who is changing. You are thinking the industry is remaining the same, technology has not changed, but everything has changed. And one fine day, you find out, oh my God, I don't have a job. I don't have a business. Why? Things changed, right? That's why Bill Gates, you can understand how busy he should be. I'm sure all of you are thinking you are busy, and I also tend to think I'm busy. Even though 2 days a week I don't work, but I might think that I'm busy. But he has scheduled Think Week every year. 1 week he goes to a solitary place with his books, he reads, he thinks, he talks to people, he understands what's going on in the industry. Okay? So that's why innovation is absolutely important. And that's how you can also think, you can step back and think. I'm going to show 2 videos. I need 3 volunteers. So it's always Chinese volunteers. I need 2 more. Otherwise I'll just randomly pick somebody. Please come. Somebody. 2. I need, please come. Okay? I'm going to play a video. You have to see the video. Okay? So I'm going to play a video. The first one. This video is about people passing basketballs. There are people in white. There are people in black. Come here, please. So that you are, please come here. Oh, okay. You will not be able to see it. Okay, so I'm so sorry. Okay. You need to count the number of times. And all of you can do that as well. These are just scapegoats here. They are cursing me, but you'll put up with that. Hold on. You need to count how many times the people in the white t-shirt pass the ball. Not the black, white. And you need to tell me correctly. Whoever tells correctly, there are 2 videos. Whoever tells correctly, I will give you 100 rupees. And I promise that. Okay, there are going to be a few other questions. So whoever correctly answers, I'm going to give 100 in addition to these 3. Okay, start. White, how many times the ball is thrown? Okay. Go ahead, please.
How many times the players wearing white pass the basketball?
Okay, hold on. How many? 16. Okay. 14? 14? Okay. 15. How many of you say 15? Too many people. I think I'll have to give too many hundreds. I didn't come prepared for that. Okay. Finish it. It's 16. Go ahead. Please.
How many passes did you count?
I think it's 16. Oh, 15, sorry. Okay, that's okay. Who else said 15? None of us. None of you. Who, you said 15? You said 15? Get up. Did you watch anything absurd during this? One second. 15 passes you have passed. Did you watch anything absurd? Weird? Sorry? Okay, so there was a gorilla going on. You watched it? Yeah. Okay. Did you watch the gorilla?
I just watched the white t-shirts and I didn't know.
You didn't see the gorilla going. Okay.
I saw the gorilla.
You saw the gorilla and 15 passes. You saw the gorilla?
No, 15 passes.
15 passes. You saw the gorilla and 15 passes. I just hope you don't mean me. Sorry?
Movement of people in white, they were very slow as compared to others.
And that was because the video was slow. Anyway, the point is, these, I mean, they are wrong, but that's okay. They were counting. Some of you watched the gorilla. He was so focused, he is right, he missed the gorilla. That's the point, right? When you are so focused in your work, that's absolutely important if you want to excel. Highly possible you miss what's going on around you. I'm going to play another video, and it's also a tricky one. Next one. You still want to continue, or you want to exchange with somebody?
Anybody wants to exchange?
Anybody else wants to exchange? I mean, now
We're good.
Okay, you're good? Okay. It's the same thing. Okay? How many passes happening? And the answer is not 15. Okay. This is the second one?
Count how many times the players wearing white passed the ball.
Okay. How many passes? 16? Wonderful. Can you go now to the end? I think it is 16. Actually, the video is playing slowly. Normally it plays a little faster, but that's okay. 16 passes. How many said 16? Yeah. Everybody, I suppose 16. Yeah. And everybody watched gorilla? Everybody? Because I told you. In the first video I said there is going to be gorilla. Anything else you noticed?
White t-shirt.
Sorry? 1 second. What is
I
it?
see the printed white t-shirt.
No, that's okay.
The color changed in the background.
How many passes you counted?
13.
Okay, wonderful. So you were not focusing, but you were able to watch the change that's happening around, right? Anything else you watched? Okay, who said 16? You said 16? You said 16? Did you watch the screen change the color?
No.
Okay? Okay. One more thing happened. How many of you can identify?
I think what it is different colored person, a person wearing different color of t-shirt came in between, I guess.
No, that's a gorilla that came in.
I must have observed gorilla.
There is a specific pattern of moving.
No, weird. Something different happened. Okay, go to the first one. Go to the beginning. Somewhere beginning.
White passed the ball.
Hold on. How many black? Okay, go to the end, please. You did not notice one person leaving the stage. right? And can you go a little further back, I mean a little earlier when the gorilla comes and goes? Little more. Okay, now you will see 3. Start noticing. Okay, play. Start noticing. 1 will walk out. Oh, this is already, okay, you need to go a little further. When the gorilla is coming, you need to still go further, a little further. Earlier, sorry. Yes. Yes, you can see 3, play. The gorilla will come, that one lady will go out. Play. See? Right? Thank you. Thank you. The point is, I hope it's clear to all of you, right? The point is, if you're focused, which some of you were, if you want you can switch it off, if it is for the event, if you want to keep it, I'm okay. But there are no more videos. The point is, this gentleman was focused on his work, he is excellent in what he is doing, he is consistently delivering the best output, right? But he missed seeing the change that's happening around. Second time, all of you knew there was going to be a gorilla coming in, so you were ready for it, but you missed 2 other changes that happened. That's what happens on your day-to-day life. Every single time, that's exactly what happens. Okay? This is why you need to have one time zone or one time wherein which you are doing work, another time to think and reflect what's happening around you. You need to take stock. What's happening around you, what's happening in the world. Probably that's why Harit is bringing in people like me out from outside to say, okay, this is what's happening, guys take notice, and so on and so forth. You need to build your own radar, where things are happening around, you're watching, okay, it's at the periphery, small dot you are seeing, there is an RPA happening, there is blockchain that's happening, there's some automation that's happening, there is some drone technology that's happening. That's really not for us, right? So it's on the periphery. And slowly you are seeing the dot becoming bigger and bigger, and you start noticing it. The earlier you notice the change, and earlier you bring change into your organization, it becomes a lot more easier for you to adapt yourself. There are companies which are now there for about more than 100 years. GE is one, of course now it's into trouble, but GE is one, Exxon is another. There are so many companies like that, but the lifespan of a company has shrunk to about 15 years max. That's because they're not able to watch this, and I demonstrated that firsthand to you. Okay? So this is the reason why you need to have think weeks, sessions like this, and some other sessions where you will interact and say, okay, fine, this is what's happening, how this will impact us. What's the change it's going to bring for us? There's going to be an automation. Can automation help me, or can automation disrupt my company? You need to have those weeks thinking about it. You need to have those discussions. And I keep thinking about it. I am older than all of you guys, but I still do that all the time. The reason why I come and talk to you guys is also like, I can understand certain things from you guys. I can improve myself. I can see where my job could be disrupted. In some cases, I also think, can I disrupt my job? Can I automate my job? Can I automate the things that I'm doing? If I automate it, 1, I will have time to think. 2, if I disrupt, nobody else can disrupt it. That's the best thing that can happen, right? When I disrupt my job, when I disrupt my company, then I can move on to something else. Apple did this marvelously. They released iPod. I suppose you all know about iPod, not the iPad, iPod. It was fantastic. It was having a lot of cash flow. Then they brought in iPhone, which would disrupt that market, but they still went ahead. Because if they don't disrupt, somebody else will disrupt them. So they went ahead with that. That's why innovation is absolutely essential and critical. You need to have those, what's happening around as Gurpreet, right? As she said, inventions are happening. There are new inventions happening in blockchains, drones, automation, RPAs, so on and so forth. Some of you will have to come and think, okay, how can I bring that into my work and improve myself? It could be productivity, it could be reduction in cost, in whatsoever manner. You need to do that. So that's where that innovation comes in. Innovative teams thrive, that's the first thing. Now let's move on to teams. Okay? I need 3 more volunteers. No more tricks. Okay? No. I promise, no more tricks. Please come. Yes. 2 more, please. Okay. Here there are 10 matchsticks and a dice. The job, unfortunately I don't have a table which you all can look at, but yeah, there's a table, but we can't look at it. Sorry, you won't need the mic? No, that's okay. So the job will be that 3 gents who are here, they will have to move this from one direction, only in one direction, but one from the other, okay? So let's say, for example, he will have to move to the other. He will throw a dice. The rules are very simple. He can only move that many number of matchsticks that's in the dice. If he gets 6, he can move 6. If he gets 1, he can move 1. If he gets only 2, he can only move 2, okay? And let's say, for example, he starts, he gets 6, he moves 6, but if he gets 2, he can only move 2 to the next one. He can't borrow from here, okay? So that rule is very simple. You understand the rule? Okay, so let's start, okay? So I will, is there a pen? I can, okay.
We can play it live there. Okay. Even if they're doing it there, I can put it live.
No, I thought I would, okay, so please come. One, you can stand like this, please come. Stand. So 3 of you are here. So you start with the, so this is here, okay?
Just so I can see it there also on the screen.
Okay. Yeah, you can put it there. Okay, so 10, you can start with 10. Okay, throw the dice. Okay, you can move 2 to him. No, 2 to the next one. Okay, how many you have? 1. So you can move 1 to him. 1 is, no, not from here, from here. Okay? Okay, so you like to. 1. Okay, so no, from there, no, keep it here. That one, you are at the last. Okay, so you have completed this. Okay, now you can start. 3. Okay, you can move. No, keep. Yeah, that's gone. 3. Go to next one. Okay, you. 1. No. Okay. This 1 is for you. Yes. It's 4, but you can only move 1. Okay? Because you only have 1. That you can put in 4. Okay, 1 more. We'll go 1 more round. Okay. Okay, 6. You can move 6. You don't have 6. Move all of them. 5. Yeah. You. 3. You can only move 3. Okay. Yeah. You. 3. That 3 you can move. Okay. Thank you. What happened here? Think of this as work items. Thank you. Think of these 10 items as work items. You start with your good name? Dinesh. In any company, there is going to be marketing, there's going to be sales, there's going to be delivery, and all the other support teams like HR and legal and so on and so forth. Okay. Most often, what happens is they optimize one area. They'll optimize marketing. Oh, now fantastic leads are coming in, fantastic traffic is coming in, and that's getting converted. We have so many leads. Good. Now, so probably they started with 3 or 5. There was one case where there was 5. The second gentleman had 5, but he was only able to move 3. Right? So the 2 is still pending. The marketing gave you 6 leads, but you were able to convert only 3. Even though all the 6 are valid, you could have converted all the 6, but you could only convert 3. This is because the flow in our management model, where we optimize one silo, you can only optimize as a flow. This has to be optimized as a flow. Obviously here it was a dice, so it's kind of a luck, but otherwise when you are optimizing yourself, so say for example delivery can take up 20, but marketing is only giving you 5 leads, right? So then there is either a waste of time or somebody else is not working. Now I like to think of it in systems thinking. In systems thinking, you think of a flow as a whole, not as individual items. Say for example, we are all tasked with building a car. The way that this management model works is that we go out, scout and say, what's the best engine that's out there? What could be the best engine? BMW engine? Rolls-Royce is the best engine? Okay, so we bring in the Rolls-Royce engine. What's the best gear system in the world? If it is BMW gear system, we bring in the best BMW gear system. And we go scout like this. And we have all the parts. Will that be a car? Will that run? Why? Why would it run? Why do you think it would run? Why do you think it won't run? Anyone? Absolutely. Compatibility. Anyone else?
Other parameters
Like?
the shape,
Wonderful.
the looks,
Sorry?
the looks of the car,
Okay. Looks of the car.
luxury,
That's a good point. Look of the car. Wonderful. Comfort. Yes. Anyone else? That's good. Anyone else?
brand value,
True to a certain extent. Okay. I'll catch up on that. That's a good point as well. The point is, when you bring in all of these things together, it is no more a car of your own. I mean, in the first case, it may not even run. The Rolls-Royce engine, I mean, it's like fitting a Rolls-Royce engine for a bullock cart and thinking that it is going to go fast. We do that mistake all the time. As a nation, we do that. As states, we do that. In families, we do that. And in companies, we do that. We fit a Rolls-Royce engine for a bullock cart and we expect, you're going to go fast. It's not going to happen, right? So as a team, there has to be cohesiveness. Each of us should know what we are working on and how much we can take. So as a whole, can I optimize that? Can I help somebody else to move things around? That's when you're going to come up as a one cohesive unit. And when you are combining that innovation with cohesiveness as a team, you have a winning lead. Okay? How many of you understand? Do you have any questions? Any of you have any questions? Any questions? Did I go above board? Did I put you out to sleep? Any questions? Good? Okay? So the cohesiveness is a must if you want to stand out from your competition. Because your competition, I'm not going there to give a talk, right? They don't have this insight. Only you have this insight. They are still optimizing in silos. But on the other hand, you will go and optimize it as a one cohesive unit. What's coming in as marketing, sales is able to convert. What sales is able to convert, delivery is able to deliver. Then there's a cohesiveness. That's when you win the deals. That's the teamwork. That's when it becomes as one big team. It is not just Oh, marketing team is one, sales team is one. It's a one big unit. How many of you know about agile teams, agile methodology? All of you follow agile methodology? No? One of the principles of agile is that it has to be a cross-functional team. Normally how we will work is, I don't know whether this happens here, where I come from a software development, we need to develop software with the UIs and there has to be a UX and it has to be put into an infrastructure like AWS or somewhere to host it and all of that. And each of the teams will work independently. And then when it comes to deliver, that guy does not know what is actually coming in and he will be stuck. So in agile principles, one of the things that we have is cross-functional teams. Our team has somebody from business analyst, somebody from development, software development, somebody from UI, somebody from infrastructure and hosting. They talk to each other from day one, so then they know where to optimize, how to help each other, and at the time of delivery, they know what is coming in. Then there is one cohesive flow that's going on. It will not be stuck like this. We could not move these many things even though they are valid, right? The thing that you could not move, this is the opportunity for somebody else. Some other team there is looking for this. You have it, but you couldn't deliver it. This is some marketing lead Harit has paid. It has not been converted, right? It's lying in your office. This could have been reached as a cash in your bank, which is lying in your office. That's this. Why? Because there is no cohesiveness in the team. You get the point? That's why teamwork as one cohesive unit is absolutely essential if you want to stand out from your competition. So when I want to talk about tribe, that's a last point. When I want to talk about tribe, there are no tricky questions, there are no exercises here. You can relax a bit. 3-4 years back, there was a lot of chaos near my house. I live in Panchkula, Sector 4. You all know what I mean. There were chaos. I live in a Sector 4. There was a park nearby. All of the protesters, they came, occupied that park, and it was tensed moments. And we were all locked into our house. We were scared. We didn't want to get out. We were happy we had enough supplies for next 2-3 days. And we were all locked and scared and sitting inside the house. Yeah, I didn't want to say it. You are right, because it is getting recorded and sent live. I don't know whether it is. I am not from here, but I don't know whether it is a sensitive issue or anything. That's why I didn't say, but that's true. Now the point is, we were all locked, paralyzed, and the protesters were there in the park. There was one guy walking through that protesters selling chart items. We were locked, paralyzed. We were out of business. I wasn't going to office because offices were closed, obviously. This guy thrived. This guy probably sold the most in that particular week. There was chaos. One set of people are paralyzed. One guy is thriving. Are you the paralyzed team, or are you the team that is thriving in chaos? You need to ask that question. Okay? How can you thrive? There's going to be chaos. Things are changing. There is Brexit coming in. Will Trump be impeached? And will it have any effect on the dollar value? Will it have any effect on your business? What's happening in India? Internet is getting shut down. Will internet get shut down here? How will you thrive? How will you do business? Things are changing. It's a uncertain world. So, are you going to be paralyzed? Oh my God, this is all happening. Let's lock it down. We are not going to do any business anymore. Brexit is happening. Pound is increasing. Rupee is crashing. My profit is going out. This is an uncertain world. so let me be paralyzed. Let me close my door. I'm not going to do anything more. Are you going to be that guy? Or are you going to be the team which is taking the chart items, going into that protesters area and having the best sales that you ever had? You need to think for yourself. That is going to happen only when the innovation is already happening. You can't think all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm going to do that. Right? I couldn't have become a chart seller at that moment. Even though I saw that guy is having the best sale, I was still paralyzed because I'm not a chart seller. Right? I couldn't have become one like that. That's where that innovation and the think week that I talked about comes into picture. You see in a radar what's happening around, you already prepare. As a team, you are ready. There is an opportunity, I'm going to go grab it. When your competitor is paralyzed, not knowing what to do, you are ready and you are able to grab it. That's the difference the innovation teams brings in. So my friends, whether you want to be thriving or you want to be paralyzed team, and if you want to thrive, you need to have a cohesiveness. As a team, you need to get to know each other. Not only from a delivery standpoint, not only as a sales, not only as a marketing, not only as an on-site team, but as a together as a unit. What are you doing? How can I help you? Can you understand my problem? Unless you talk to each other, unless you go and talk to Harit, hey Harit, how can I help you? What's your challenge? Can I help you in some fashion? What is keeping you awake? Unless you talk to each other, that cohesiveness is not going to come through. And as a team, only then you will be able to thrive. Okay? Good luck to you guys. As the next year is coming, I hope all of you will become innovative, you will have cohesiveness, and you will thrive. Next year, by the same time, you will call me for a party. Thank you. Good luck.
If you're okay, can we ask for some questions?
Oh, please.
Yeah. So, does anybody have any questions?
I first asked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody's already there.
Oh, wonderful. I love it.
My name is Manish and I'm working as a manager here for the last 5 years. So, the year 2000 problem that you suggested. So, I basically want suggestions from your side.
Right.
These are not just the questions, just the suggestions from your side. So, the ecosystem here. I'm not talking about Signicent. We have very good work culture here.
I hope so.
If we talk
Let me go out and then.
No, this is not for the gathering, but I actually feel because we have a very good working style and system here, because I'm working from last 5 years, so I know that. The question, and I would like to get your suggestion that you talk about the Steve Jobs Think Week.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, yes. I'm sorry. So the ecosystem, how we are working here, and the competitive world inside India, and if we talk about our industries. So what do you suggest? Because we are not going to get any sort of week off to take our books with us and to go to a solitary place to think about what sort of challenges we have and what sort of solutions we can get. And the second question I have is, if companies like Xerox, I can take the name of Kodak, that is also going down. So if billionaire companies, if do not see any sort of situations whether they are going to crash in the market, Nokia is also very prominent, I can say, example for that. So what we can especially do differently to analyze and to actually feel those changes in the market. So if you have any sort of suggestions, so after that I'll come with a follow-up question.
You have to keep calling me every month. Simplest. No other answer. Besides the joke. Anybody else has the answer? Let's crowdsource. I think all of you guys are smart enough to know the answer. Just that I bring that answer out. You all know that. It's in the crowd. Anybody else?
I think it's not about like going for a week out somewhere. I think every day we go home and we have some time for ourselves, like 1 or 2 or maybe 15 minutes. We can just introspect like inside, or we can just go through whatever we did throughout the day or whatever we came across throughout the day. And we can pick, we can pick something that, really something is happening there. Okay, something is happening there. This market is going up. So sometimes I text sometimes he said this market is growing. We can go into that service also. So this kind of things, I think it do not need a week to go out. I think it's just
Wonderful,
daily
wonderful.
prospect.
So we have been here for about a year, about an hour here, right? Do you think we spent an hour here? How many of you say we spent more than an hour? We have spent 60 hours here. Do you know why I say 60 hours?
60 into 1.
We are 60 people here. So 60 into 1 hour, 60 hours. We have spent 60 hours, right? So if I'm saying go out for a week, 40 hours, 40 of you go for 1 hour, it is 40 hours. You need to think a little differently. The equation has to be different. If A plus B equal to C, C is also equal to A plus B, right? Most often we say time equal to money, right? But money is also time. You can flip that equation to say money equal to time. So the point that I want to say is that there's a whole bunch of things, probably like that's a longer thing. Harit, how long I have?
You have 5 minutes.
Okay. So that's the first point. Okay, you need to think a little differently. The equations can be flipped. I'll give you an example. Today I drove, but otherwise, anything more than 20 minutes of drive, I take Uber. Do you know why? That's my thinking time. Right? If time equal to money, can I buy time with money? So instead of driving for an hour, if I take Uber, I can have 1 hour of thinking time. And I can have somebody else to discuss with. I have 2 hours of thinking time I already have. Can I do that? You need to think. How can you flip the equations? Right? I have a whole bunch of other things called, in another talk probably I'm already putting myself for the another talk opportunity. But the point is, can you flip the way that you are thinking? We are all conditioned. That's why I showed the first thing, right? You are conditioned to look in one particular direction. You miss the gorilla. You miss the change, where somebody leaving the stage. Some technology is vanishing. You are still attached to that technology. That is gone. Something is changing. The screen color is changing. New technology is coming in. RPA is coming. Blockchain is coming. You are not noticing it. Can you flip your thinking? Then probably you will start noticing it. That's one. Okay? How many of you know about second law of thermodynamics? I know a lot of you are saying, Joseph, we finished college. Do you have to remember that? Disorder is the norm. Confusion, disorder, entropy is the norm. That's given. Okay? You don't do a thing, it will deteriorate. Anything for that matter, it will deteriorate. Right? So that's the thing for everybody, whether it is him, me, him, anybody, disorder is the norm. How can you bring order in the disorder? So again, you need to flip your thinking. You need to get exposed. You need to be punched with new ideas. How do you bring that in? Is how you thrive. So this sequence, I was very cautious of these words. It is not thriving because of innovation kind of a thing that I said, right? It is innovation, cohesiveness, then comes thriving. Okay? You cannot thrive without innovation. You cannot thrive without cohesiveness. It is always this particular sequence. You need to be able to have a radar which captures innovation that is relevant to you. Okay? So that's the answer for that. So you need to have it. So what I mean is, it doesn't have to be 1 week all out. This, we could have one session where, let's say for example, every Thursday, you could have 1 hour session, and maybe it is open to everybody, maybe it is open to somebody, some group, where you can talk about things that are happening, just things that are happening. Maybe relevant, may not be relevant to you. You can have that. 1 hour, maybe half an hour you can discuss, half an hour somebody can present, another half an hour you can all discuss. You have 20 hours of the thinking there, right? That's the way one of you can do it. Any other questions?
I'd just like to add to what you were saying. So I think what Joseph has, said in the terms of Gorilla's case and screen changing cases, as a company's, forefront runner, what I see is a lot of times they think that only CEO is responsible to change the spot of how Gorilla is changing or not. If he says we will do it, else let it go, let it come, it doesn't matter to us. That's something I've been, requesting all of you. Please help me spot that gorilla. Please help me spot that screen changing. Because if there are hundreds eyes looking at the same problem, chances are we will spot that problem faster and more efficiently than just depending upon me, that me or maybe some of the managers would do it and then we will come on it. So hierarchy has its own advantages and disadvantages. When it comes to knowledge, when it comes to things spotting, a text like Dinesh said or somebody else is already doing it, that really helps a lot. You just need to help me spot that. We need to strategize and we need to do it faster, because even if we have spotted the wrong thing, let us do it together fast, not in a later manner. Yeah.
Any other question?
So you said that communication amongst the team is one of the ways that we can achieve cohesiveness. What are other one or two ways that we can,
team building activities.
Yeah, team building activities.
So only when you do things together, then the relationship is built. That's where it has to be. It has to be outside of the office, not the professional work doing things together, but outside of that, whatever that you could do. And it is not going and watching movie together. It has to be doing things together. Activities. It needs to be doing things together, only then it will happen. And mostly what happens is organizations will organize for team activities, but what happens there is it will be the same people always becoming a group. That needs to be broken. So that will be done very consciously.
So that we can do cross team building as well. So which means that everybody understands the other person better, and then communication lines are.
The other second one that I found it to be very effective is role plays. So say for example somebody is playing marketing role. I mean he is actually a marketing manager. Somebody else is a sales manager. In their active role they are only doing that, right? Switch them and do a role play. So like this, I have done that. Okay, so like this. Now I am the sales guy. I am normally a marketing manager, but otherwise I am a sales guy. Okay. So how will I sell? Okay, that's a role play. If I do that, then I will understand what the challenges the sales guy faces.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. Okay, so then I can empathize with that guy. What's happening? Oh, this is the challenge that you are facing. I could help you. So role play.
And I have a practical problem. What Joseph is saying. So we did this role play. So when I asked my operations team to help BD teams, it's none of our business. Let them do it. We don't want to go into that shoe and replace it. And when we ask our BD team to help our technical team, they think it's not our problem. To an extent, everybody tries. After that, they think it's their job, it's our job. We don't want to come into each other's shoes. That's what I face, and I've tried it like ample number of times. At the end of the day, लड़ाई हो जाएगी, मुझे पार्टी देनी पड़ेगी ताकि सब normalize हो जाए, and then everybody is back.
Maybe the Friday for a party only.
Maybe they have adopted in a way that that's what they need.
What if you can do the role play? I have found that to be extremely.
Yeah, so we have tried that, and there has been gradual shift to empathy towards each other. So I will also say that when we try it, it's not one or twice a session. It's an yearly thing. Yes. It's an yearly thing. You need to keep repeating it. Yeah.
So you need to search for building a flywheel. Again, those are some of the topics that you need to know. Building a flywheel. It is not a short-term thing. It's a long-term thing. The flywheel is a big wheel that moves along, right? So making a momentum is very difficult. So you can do one role play, two role play, one session like this. Nothing is changing, right? So as I said, the change is not visible in short periods. So you don't see it. But when the momentum builds into the flywheel, then it is much, much faster. How many engineers WhatsApp had? How much they sold for?
60.
19 billion dollars.
So 50 people company.
So that the reason why I'm saying that is that's the momentum you build. Once you build that momentum, it doesn't matter 5 or 500 or 5,000 employees, you can build that momentum. Any other questions? Good crowd. I mean, I'm happy. People are asking questions and not sleeping. Good crowd.
And just as a personal question, so because a lot of people are growing in our organization and we want them to take bigger roles, Joseph, could you tell them? I mean, I keep talking to them always. Probably when, as an outside expert, you tell them it will make more sense. So when you started off your career, the first 3 years, and let's say year 7 to 10, and let's say the last 3 years, how do you think your roles have changed? Have you just focused this is the problem that I'm focusing on for the entire 15 years versus the diversity of problem, the role shift that you do change in the 15 years, how that helped you to become a CTO of a very big company here? Or
think that he doesn't have a constraint. A lot of us think, oh, CEO doesn't have a constraint, CFO doesn't have a constraint, manager doesn't have a constraint. Not even for a minute. All of us have constraints. You could be Modi, you still have constraint. You could be Trump, the most powerful man in the world, he could be impeached, right? Every single person on this earth, no matter what, they all have constraints. How do you work within that constraint? Knowing that constraint, how do you produce deliverables within that constraint? If you develop that habit, so that's a habit. You need to develop habits, okay? If you develop that habit, that's going to take you through. That's one. Second, you need to build a roadmap. One of the things is, right now, just today I was writing that particular blog post. The point is, there's an equation that compels me to action every day. I know some of you may not look at math, but so I will talk about what Zappos CFO said. If you have if you